Justin Trudeau made an appearance today in public. He opened his mouth, and as a result, he's gone even further down in the polls. All we ask for is competence and accountability. If you mess up, just say, yeah, that was a big mistake, and we're going to learn from it and not do that again. But instead, Justin Trudeau and the Liberal caucus's approach to everything is, we had no idea. It's out of our control. How could this happen? It's somebody else's fault. That's not how accountability works, my dude. Welcome back to another video, everybody. This is going to be a great one. Trudeau is being exposed yet again. But before we get into it, I want to encourage everyone to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. And I hope you consider turning post notifications on so you can actually be notified of upcoming videos. I notice a lot of people got the post notifications on, and I know that because right when I post a video, there are hundreds of likes immediately. So if we could get that into the thousands, that will be mint. If you don't want to do it for me, do it because the government doesn't want you to. And before we get into it, I want to encourage everyone to visit the stickers that are linked down in the description or the pinned comment below. I've got this 20% off sticker bundle here. You get all 5 of these stickers, including the I did not see that coming. And as well as I got new stickers such as WTF, where's the funds, and Justin Trudeau crying in jail. The link for these are linked down in the description or the pinned comment below. Now, all right, let's get out of the doom and gloom for a quick second, and let's take a look at something positive. The polls, 338 Canada polling is bumped up from, I think it was at 205 or 206 the other day, to 208 projected seats. Bro, they've almost maxed out all the seats. It's almost like the Conservatives are going to sure as shit win. There is almost nothing that could stop Pierre Poilievre. I want to knock 3 times here because I don't want to jinx it. There's almost nothing that can stop Pierre Poilievre from winning the next election. They need 170 seats for a majority, projected to get 208 with a current bottom line of 181, which means that, yeah, no matter what, they're going to win. Pierre Poilievre is expected to be the next Prime Minister of Canada with a 99% likelihood of winning and a 99% likelihood of winning a majority government. So I don't know about you, but if I was a betting man, I would say Conservatives are looking pretty good. And it's not hard to beat when you have Justin Trudeau make appearances like this. So we're going to take a look at several clips. I really encourage you to stick around for the entire video because there's going to be quite a few videos that we're going to take a look at. First up is
in an interview today with CTV News, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg. He said that he expects the alliance members, including and specifically Canada, to spend 2% of GDP on defense, but if they're not at that level this year, they should have a date or when they will hit 2%. Your government has never articulated a date, yes or no, to when they will say when Canada will hit that 2%.
When we took office in 2015, we took over from a Conservative government that had underinvested in defense. Under Stephen Harper and his Conservatives, defense spending in Canada actually dipped below 1% for the first time. And that's unacceptable. That's why from the...
You know what is unacceptable is sending billions of dollars to foreign countries when we should be working on our own defenses here in Canada, as well as re-injecting and re-stimulating our own economy from what's happened over the past 4 or 5 years from this incompetent buffoon just ruining everything.
The very beginning, we committed to increasing defense spending by 70%. Over time, we're seeing the world continue to get more challenging, more complicated, with really difficult geopolitical forces, including a war in Ukraine.
The illegal invasion of Russia.
We need to continue to step up, and we have as a government, we will continue to. We will be there to step up with our NATO partners. We will be there to continue to make sure that the women and men of the Canadian Armed Forces have the equipment they need and that our allies can count on for us to continue to be there for them.
Make sure their pronouns are respected. This dumbass, he invited a Nazi into Parliament and then blamed the Nazi for being in Parliament on Russia, mis and disinformation, and propaganda. This is the level of competence that the leader of a country has. It's kind of embarrassing. And to any international viewers, any Americans or people abroad, whatever it is, we don't like Trudeau. We don't like Trudeau. We don't know how he got in. He promised weed. That happened. And maybe that's the only reason he got in. I don't know. I never voted for Trudeau, but to everyone else who's like, how do you still have this guy in? Yo, we want him out. Trust me. All Canadians want him out. You just saw the polls. Next up, we have a lack of accountability for the Arrive scam app, the multi-million-dollar scandal that this app should have only cost $80,000. Instead, it cost over $60 million. And of course, he's smiling like this.
So how did the government go so wrong with the ArriveCan app contracting and development? And do you take responsibility for those failures?
There continue to be ongoing investigations, both external and otherwise, into the contracting process. It is obvious that the contracting process rules were not followed in this case, and we need to make sure that there is accountability and transparency around that. But let us remember that during the pandemic, we were reaching out to try and keep people safe, keep people alive, make sure that our economy didn't falter at a time where everything was in question. Even in those most difficult times, we need to make sure the rules were followed. When public servants, in this case, did not follow the rules adequately, there are investigations and there will be consequences.
No, what should be done is when you're called out for spending $60 million on an app that should have cost $80,000, your immediate answer is, wow. Yeah, I am very sorry to all Canadians. I don't know how this happened, but I take full accountability and full responsibility as the Prime Minister of this country, as the one who has oversight over everything, even though I might not have day-to-day oversight on the daily things that happen. This is my fault and it falls on me, and I apologize to Canadians for wasting your time and your money. That's how a proper apology works, but he's incapable of doing it because Trudeau is a narcissist. He's just completely insane. How do you spend $80 or $60 million over budget on an app that was supposed to cost $80,000? How do you just keep sending e-transfers or deposits of money? It's like, okay, maybe once it was double the budget, 160 grand, maybe 200 grand, you're like, we should look into this. Maybe once it hit $500,000 or $1 million or $5 million or $10 million, you'd be like, something doesn't seem right. No. This kept going to $60 million. And these assholes that stole this money from us taxpayers have taken over $250 million for this same level of corruption since 2015. So it's not just a little investigation that needs to be done. There needs to be real accountability. People need to lose their jobs. Their bank accounts need to be frozen, including a prime minister whose net worth is over $90 million when his salary is $200,000 or $300,000 a year. It don't make sense. We are beyond the little biased investigation that happens, and we need to move forward with actual accountability. And just to show you, just to recap the level of competence that Justin Trudeau has, we're going to take a look at a video of where he literally walks out during when he's questioned about the Emergencies Act. It's a bit of an older clip, but it's still relevant because it just shows how ridiculous this so-called leader is.
Parkland. Mr. Speaker, the invocation of the Emergencies Act for the first time in Canadian history is a damning indictment on the failure of this Prime Minister to address the situation. The Prime Minister once said, I quote, "When a government asks its citizens to give up even a small portion of their liberty, it is not simply enough to say, trust us. That trust must be earned, it must be checked, and it must be renewed." These are his words. Canadians do not trust this Prime Minister. When will he stop undermining Canadians' rights and start renewing Canadians' trust?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians can trust that this government will always follow the science and the best evidence to get us out of this pandemic, and that includes getting vaccinated, Mr. Speaker. And contrary to what my colleague says, this is an illegal blockade. This illegal blockade is not about the vaccines or the mandates. It's about a very small, organized group who are trying to upend our way of life, Mr. Speaker. Now, we've made progress. We've seen the Ambassador Bridge reopened. We've seen Coots reopened. We've seen Surrey reopened. And, Mr. Speaker, yesterday, yes, we invoked the Emergencies Act so that we can secure that progress and give law enforcement all of the tools they need. Thank you.
Thank goodness the Emergencies Act invocation was just recently turned around and deemed illegal. Now, having a ruling like that is good, but we need actual accountability. And Trudeau is not short of any scandals. I mean, here you got on Talk TV, Tyrant Trudeau called on to resign immediately over abuse of power. It's just never ending for Justin Trudeau.
Mr. Trudeau, the federal court has ruled that the Emergencies Act was unconstitutional. Would you resign or apologize to Canadians for violating their rights?
That was Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau being scurried away into a car with questions of accountability being thrown his way. Canada's Liberal leader is in hot water this week after a federal court ruled that his decision to invoke the Emergencies Act in February 2022 was unreasonable. These powers were put in place after thousands of truckies protested for 1 month against the government's coronavirus vaccine mandate when driving to and from the United States. The court ruling read, the federal government's decision to declare a public order emergency under the Emergencies Act in early 2022, as well as the associated regulations that it enacted, were unreasonable and were not justified on the facts or the law.
It took 2 years for this to happen, for this ruling to happen. And it's frustrating because we want to see people actually be held accountable, such as Chrystia Freeland, who played a big part in this.
As a country and as a government, an incredibly serious threat.
2 years ago, when the Trudeau government decided to invoke the Act, it was met with severe backlash.
The federal government has invoked the Emergencies Act to supplement provincial and territorial capacity to address the blockades and occupations.
The reason why this announcement was met with such criticism is because while the Act was introduced in 1988, it had never been used before, as it was reserved for such extreme cases of anarchy. It was chaotic scenes for 1 month in downtown.
And he used it on his own people. He used it on his own people, man. It's absolutely insane. And it's not just stopped there. I mean, now you've got the ArriveCan app. You have all of the briberies. It doesn't end. And then you have videos like this here, where Trudeau is called out for burning over 100 tons of greenhouse gases on VIP flights.
Over in Canada, you might have seen their great opposition leader, Pierre Poilievre, who is one of the great rising stars of right-wing politics.
I love when
from his
people who aren't from Canada say Poilievre. It's Pierre Poilievre.
To welcome the Prime Minister back from his $80,000 vacation, which he got for free. He said, like most Canadians, friends welcomed him for that vacation. He took two, not one, but two private jets paid for by the taxpayer, burning 100 tons of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. He wants to tax the heat and the food of Canadians. Did he pay the full carbon tax on each of the 100 tons of emissions that he put into the atmosphere as part of his $80,000 vacation?
I mean, you've got to love it. It's one thing to go on an $80,000 taxpayer-funded holiday, but again, we've got to keep pointing this stuff out because the left does nothing better than hypocrisy. And they love to, you can't do this, you can't do that. I mean, they were off at the World Economic Forum in Davos a week or two ago. They've all flown there on private jets. One rule for thee, another for me.
And it just doesn't end. And that's kind of a summary of liberalism here in Canada, is it doesn't end. But thankfully, we have very aggressive conservative MPs that are constantly pushing for things to change, such as Michael Cooper here, who talks about how Justin Trudeau is obstructing the RCMP investigation into Justin Trudeau. Must be nice to control the people that are investigating you.
App is just like the Prime Minister, not worth the cost and not worth the corruption. The Auditor General revealed that an app that didn't work cost taxpayers a staggering $60 million, including $20 million that went to a two-person company that did no work. Now the RCMP have launched a criminal investigation but are being obstructed by these Liberals who are hiding documents. Will the Prime Minister stop the obstruction and turn over the documents today?
These people don't think that we're paying attention. They think that we're just sitting here and allowing things to happen. And that's why it's important. I know it sounds silly, but to hit the like button and subscribe, because it's getting more exposure. Hundreds of thousands and millions of people, not just in Canada, but around the world, are now being informed constantly of the corruption, and it adds a bunch of social pressure and real pressure against the Liberals and the RCMP and just the whole system. So that's why it's very important to share videos like this.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Cette question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. There have already been a number of answers given to that question this week and even today. The answer is still the same. The Auditor General deserves our acknowledgement. She's done a lot of work, and it's very important, and the report on Monday was troubling. The good news is that a lot of the recommendations she made have already been implemented and have been for some time now, but the work is ongoing because it's very important to ensure that the public service is doing its work properly, even in times of crisis.
Honourable Member for St. Albert Edmonton.
Madam Speaker, 60 million taxpayers' dollars wasted, fraud, forgery, and corruption. That is ArriveCan, and these Liberals have tried to cover up this scandal every step of the way. They obstructed parliamentary committees, they attempted to obstruct an investigation by the Auditor General, and now they're obstructing an RCMP criminal investigation. When will these Liberals stop the obstruction and turn over the documents to the RCMP?
The Honourable Minister.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Comme je l'ai dit.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As I already said in English, there's no obstruction here. On the contrary, the Auditor General has to have all the documents she needs to do her work, because her work goes to the very heart of the integrity of our democratic and parliamentary system. And that's why she needs to have access to all those documents. And that, because she had access to those documents, that's how she was able to do her work. And we will share the documents with other partners like the RCMP.
It's just insane that Justin Trudeau has such a grasp over not just the feds, but the people that are supposed to be investigate him. I don't understand it, and people are fed up, and we're making a change. We're making a difference. I mean, look at the polls. 99% likely for Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives to win. That's phenomenal. We might have to wait out this entire duration and go to the full term of the election in October of 2025. But even if that's the case, Justin Trudeau has so much runway to continuously mess up and for more scandals to either resurface or continue surfacing. So it's very annoying. It's very frustrating. And everybody is fed up with the cost of living, all those scandals, or the mismanagement of our funds, and yada, yada, yada. I could go on and on and on. But nonetheless, change is going to take a lot of time. So time is on our side. It sucks, but that's kind of what the cards were dealt, and we have to play it the best that we can. That's where we're going to end today's video. Thanks so much for watching. I'd really like to encourage you guys to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't yet already, and please consider turning post notifications on so you can actually be notified of upcoming videos, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.